What is going on? We are back at it again with the white vans, perhaps on, perhaps not. Team chats. Today we're going to be talking about not pouring from an empty cup. Something that we've been seeing a ton from clients, from prospects, from even talking through our own lives, is that oftentimes we're showing up for other people, but we forgot to show up for ourselves. So give me the kind of the impetus, the reason that we were jumping in here, the anecdote from the client or the prospect that you were talking about briefly before we jumped on, and then we'll kind of jump from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's two people, or I guess three people that kind of come to mind. I had two prospects, one client. I was talking to a police officer who, he struggles with, showing up and being confident in himself that he can handle himself in a sticky situation if something were to come up at work. And he wants to be able to show up for himself so that he can then show up for the other guys that he works with. So if they were to get into a sticky situation, they can look to him and see him as the leader that they need to, if they need some protection or if they need some help, he wants to be that guy. I see this with busy moms all the time. I mean, between busy moms and first responders, like those are the two people that I see a lot because, I talk to a lot of these people all day and I see it all the time. I mean, these guys and girls, they have kids. Their kids, if they get sick, like they have to take care of the kids. They got to take care of their parents. They've got all these things kind of pulling them in every which direction that they forget to look at themselves and take care of themselves so that they can pour from a filled cup so that they can show up for those people because they've already taken the time to show up for themselves. And I mean, like you put it perfectly before we started recording. It's just like being selfish so that you can be selfless. And I struggle with this even in my own journey, and I know that you and I both kind of relate on that we're like we have that savior mentality where we want to show up for everyone, but can't do that if you're not showing up for yourself every day.
That's true. And the unfortunate part is that usually, there's not a lead measure on this, there's only a lag measure. So you only realize that you're showing up for everyone else and not for yourself when it's, I don't want to say too late, like you're dead, because you're not, but it's too late to have caught it early enough to course correct so that you don't feel some sort of discomfort. Because by the time you catch this, you're probably going to feel some discomfort, right? You're probably going to be in the place where you're like, damn, I'm a little thicker than I want to be. Damn, I have not been drinking water. Why are my traps in my ears, right? Why do my shoulders hurt like shit? Why do my knees kind of feel creaky? By the time you get to the point where you're like, wow, I really need to get back in the gym. You've been out of the gym or out of walking or out of prioritizing protein or eating whole foods for so long that now you got some ramifications in the short run,
Yeah.
And I think it's because the feedback is not immediate. It's not like putting your hand on a hot stove. You do not see it quickly. Um, it can really sneak up on you. So, in your mind, I mean, as a coach, as someone who struggled with the same kind of thing, where you're pouring into other people, you forget about yourself. I mean, what ways do you keep yourself grounded or recent on the things that you need to do for yourself to show up for everybody else?
What way you're saying, like, what do I do?
Yeah, what practical things do you do, albeit weekly basis, daily basis, every month, so that you make sure that you can be prepared to show up for people like the cop, like your clients expect, like your wife expects, like your family expects. What do you do to keep yourself where you're not like, oh shit, I haven't shown up for myself?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, and obviously, it's better, it's easier said than done. But I mean, I strive to push myself out of my comfort zone even just a little bit every single day. I mean, like, um, you know, working in like doing the business side of the coaching thing is probably my least favorite part about coaching. But I
Mhm.
have to do it every day because if I don't do that every day, then I'm not going to be able to help the people that I want to help. So like doing all the business stuff and like trying to figure that stuff out and work my way through all of that has broken me out of my comfort zone and has pushed me to be a little bit better each day so that when somebody does come to me, like, I mean, running a business and and learning how to be fit and kind of starting is it's all the kind of the same. And like I work with a lot of other coaches who are in similar situations to me and they all connect what they say to their clients to what they're doing in their own life. And it's made me so much better of a coach to deal with a lot of these obstacles and using them as an opportunity to learn, because then that puts me right in the shoes of the person who is doing the exact same thing, just maybe from a different point of view, or going towards the fitness side of things. um, I've found for myself, like just breaking out of my comfort zone every day and doing those things, I have been able to help so many more people. And it has been so much more fulfilling for me to have, I can actually come to them with an answer when they have a problem. Before, when I was kind of taking it easy, maybe not doing those things or pushing myself as far as I have been recently, I would find myself having a hard time thinking of how to give someone advice, or like working through an obstacle, because I haven't been able to work through it on my own. So constantly putting myself through these difficult tasks and doing things that are outside of my comfort zone. I mean, it's helped me become a much better coach, and show up for people in my life, my wife, my clients, my family, all that.
Yeah, it's almost like when you play in theory land, you can't be very useful to someone in the real world. When you
Right.
start to implement the same things that you're preaching, you find yourself in a position where you're actually much more capable to give advice, to help someone out, because you've taken care of yourself and you're putting it into practice. I mean, how many people are just spouting on the internet about all these things that they claim as evidence for truth on XYZ, and half of them don't practice it themselves? They're just regurgitating, or Mosey, or Lane Norton, or anyone else, right? Take anyone, any guru's name out and put anyone else in there, on whether it be business or fitness, nutrition, dietetics, etc. But they don't actually implement any of it. And so then when they're faced with a problem that they have to problem solve, as opposed to just giving a blanket answer, they can't do it. It's very similar with the capability. When I was in law enforcement, um, if you didn't train outside, you weren't going to be ready for the physicality of it. It didn't
Mhm.
matter. If you did not do jujitsu outside, you were probably going to escalate force faster than you needed to, because you were
Mhm.
not confident in your abilities with these and this, because you don't have the skills to show up and not escalate to a lethal means, right? Because you have other skills. Uh, that's when you see people pointing guns way too fast. It's when you see people doing things that there's no reason to be doing. But it seems like that's exactly what the guy that reached out to you, and I don't know if he's a client or a prospect or what have you, but was running into, is like, look, I mean, hell, no one does have confidence in you being able to be there and help them if you're not taking care of yourself outside. And by you
Right.
doing that, not only are you putting yourself at risk because you're worse than you should be, but you're also risking the lives in that line of work far more than nursing and other things. You're risking your lives, and I would say similar to firefighters, you're absolutely risking your life and theirs by you not taking care of what you need to. It's a little bit different for you and I, right? Because if we got a little fat and happy behind the computer, maybe we wouldn't be able to sell as many people because we don't look the part, but it's not life or death for us. Now, a cop or a firefighter, that's a different story. Someone in the
Mhm.
military and the infantry, different story. If you do not have the capability, you have not tried to prepare, good luck, sir, or
Mhm.
ma'am, or whoever. Good luck. It's not going to happen. And so I think that the thing that I want people to take away from this is simply that if you don't show up for yourself, you will not be able to show up for other people. And the longer you delay the first step, the first sip, the first line, writing, drinking, what have you, the longer you delay those things, the harder it's going to be for you to actually show up for somebody else. And so
Absolutely.
if you think that you're doing anyone a favor by just skipping the gym this week because you're a little more tired, you're not. And in fact, you're probably setting a piss poor example if you're in the demographics that we're talking about for yourself and everyone else there, right?
Mhm.
The only qualifier I'll give you is that with all of that, it doesn't need to be perfect. It can be exercise snacking, it can be walking, it can be rucking, it can be running, it can be push ups at your desk at work, it can be you on the back of the bus doing squats to the ledge, right? And by bus, I mean ambulance, right? Doing squats to the ledge on the back of the ambulance. It does
Yeah.
not have to be, a Brett Owens workout where everything's methodically put out and you're going to have this many hours in the gym and you've intentionally written this. Like, it does not have to be there. It does not
Mm,
even have to be as structured as a class setting would be, but it
mm.
does need to be something. And one is always greater than zero, but you
Always.
have to try if you're even going to be able to be called upon when it's necessary for somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to piggyback off of some of that, it's like one thing I've noticed was if you're anything like me, who does have that kind of savior complex that wants to really show up for people all the time, um, I found that when I wasn't doing a lot of hard things, I was seeking people to help to make me feel better. When I started doing more hard things, those people came to me and I was able to help them in their situation because one, I'd experienced a lot of what they were dealing with, maybe in my own way, not exactly the same, but two, when you are able to show up for yourself, you have that confidence, you have that energy about you, and people notice that, and people come to you and they want to feel that way too. They want to be confident, and there's no better feeling in the world than when someone, was maybe going through a struggle that was holding them back for years and years and years, and all it took was just talking to, me or someone that they needed to talk to just shift their brain just a little bit. That push them in the trajectory that they needed to go in. It's funny too because I come from an acting background too. I talk to so many actors too that it's such an easy thing to get so caught up in the emotion of it all, and you don't have a lot of control over your success in that. um but just to like, I sat down and talked with a guy the other day who was like, I don't see the point in doing this. All the opportunity is in, he wanted to be a voice actor, and all the opportunity was in Texas. And I was just like, well, I mean, that doesn't mean you stop. You don't just stop just because the opportunity is in Texas. Make your own opportunity. Go find a way to figure it out. I mean, we live, it doesn't really matter with voice acting anyway, just because it's all on the internet. So I mean, you can get somebody to see you at some point. But regardless, it was like, I guess for whatever reason, saying that was eye-opening for him, and kind of pushed him in the right direction. And I would have never been able to tell him that had I not put myself into, tougher situations day to day, and dealt with those same struggles that he was dealing with.
Yeah, man. And for the sake of brevity, right, and us not beating dead horses,
Yeah, yeah.
probably going to wrap there. And in my mind, and add anything onto here that you think. I mean, the takeaways are you've got to show up for yourself, right? You got to show up for yourself so that you have the opportunity to show up for others. Also, showing up for yourself in multiple domains will bleed over into other things and potentially give you analogies to combine with other people's experiences to help them see it as well without you assigning it to them. And then number three, the longer we delay that first step to prioritizing that, the worst downstream effects that there potentially is. You got anything else on those?
No, I mean, that pretty much sums it all up. I mean, yeah, I absolutely agree with all of that. So
Cool. Well, that has been another episode of Team Chats with Coach Brett Owens and your boy James Gillespie. Every week, these come out on Sunday. If there's anything that y'all would like to hear, let us know. Facebook group is the fastest way to do that, and we'll catch you next week.
peace.